Yo, what is up YouTube? Welcome back to Neanderthal Fitness. It is me, Elliot, of course, never going to be anyone else. Let's just get straight on with the topic after a short off topic, which is just to say, please excuse the fact that I'm wearing my entire wardrobe. It is freezing cold. Britain is experiencing what we call a crappy spring. So we are well into April. 23rd of April, so it's basically the end of April, should be well into spring, and it is just cold, cold, cold. So I'm wearing everything I own. But today we're talking about carbohydrates, and should carbohydrates be demonized, and thoughts on that essentially. So, as a lot of you guys know, I'm a big advocate of the paleo diet, and one of the main things with the paleo diet is it's very against kind of carbohydrates for the most part. So grains, breads, rice, all of that, pasta is out. The only carbs you're kind of allowed, and these are still considered in moderation in the paleo diet, are things like sweet potatoes, carrots. You're not really allowed real potatoes in most people's opinion of it, but basically any plant-based thing that's not like a grain or a cereal. So you might think that I would demonize carbs based on that, and that is not true. I've been thinking a lot about diet recently, and I want to talk to you about why I think carbs can easily be blamed, and in a lot of cases are largely responsible for people getting fat. Okay? So I'm going to go out and say, yes, carbs are making people fat, but we're not demonizing carbs, and by saying that carbs are making people fat, we're not going to say that people should cut carbs out completely. So, a few things to clear up. First of all, when I say carbs are making people fat, please be aware that I am not arguing with science, okay? There is nothing that makes anyone fat aside from being in a calorie surplus. So it's what's called the energy balance equation, okay? So this is your base level. This is your basal metabolic rate plus your daily activity. If you eat this many calories here, this is what you need a day to maintain your weight, you'll maintain. If you eat more, you'll get fat. If you eat less, you will lose weight. No, I say fat and weight because if you eat more and you're not exercising, you will gain fat. You might gain a little bit of muscle, but 90% will be fat. If you're exercising hard, doing hard resistance training, you'll build some muscle as well as fat, but mainly fat. But when you lose weight, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Being in a calorie surplus does not mean you're just going to burn fat. You're going to burn fat, you're going to burn muscle, you're going to lose water weight, things like that. So weight loss is a combination, whereas fat gain tends to be just the one we don't want. So yes, that is what causes you to gain weight, eating more calories consistently than your body needs to maintain its weight. So why are carbohydrates to blame? Largely, well, I'm going to talk to you about that right now. Carbohydrates are to blame for two reasons. One, our modern culture has made carbohydrates A, cheap and easily available, and B, has marketed them as the healthy main energy source that we should be relying on, and everything centers around carbs. So you have pasta dishes, maybe you'll have a roast dinner, but that roast dinner is always accompanied by a mound of roast potatoes or mash, depending on which side of that argument you're on. This is the thing. We'll have something that's based on rice, or something that's based on couscous. Like all of our meals, the main component is starchy carbohydrates. If you have a sandwich, the main component is your 2 slices of bread, unless it's like a massive stack sandwich. But generally speaking, the carbs will make up the biggest section of your meal. And carbohydrates give you the same amount of calories as proteins do, which is 4 calories per gram. But if you consider how much carbohydrate we're eating, it is no surprise that a lot of fad diets these days, and any diet or anyone will sort of demonize them and say carbs are bad. Because if you cut out carbs, you will undoubtedly lose weight, because most people eat way, 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 way too many of them. So what are the main issues? The main issue with carbohydrates is they are basically just a complex form of sugar, when you take them into your body, they're turned into sugar pretty rapidly. It depends. The glycemic index is how you measure how quickly complex carbs turn into sugar. So the higher the GI, the quicker it turns into sugar, ergo the worse it is for insulin spikes. Now, if you have too many insulin spikes, this is a massive oversimplification, but too many insulin spikes will cause diabetes. Basically, if you get overweight and you lose your insulin sensitivity because you're eating sugar too often or simple carbs too often, you can become diabetic. Obviously, some people are genetically predisposed or not, and yada yada, and I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but that is kind of the basis of it. Most doctors would agree that too many sugars and too much weight gain will lead to diabetes, which obviously nobody wants. One of the best ways to control your insulin level and your sensitivity to that is to not eat too many carbs. So what am I saying here? Should we eat carbs? Shouldn't we eat carbs? Put simply, if you want accelerated, quick fat loss, you want to feel, super healthy, energetic, and not get hungry all that often, then I would say embrace something like paleo. Go very, very low carb, because after your body adjusts to it, you burn fat as your main fuel source, which is readily available on most of our bodies, so you don't experience the same hunger pangs as you do on a high carb diet, and generally you will lose weight very quickly because you'll be cutting off a huge chunk of your calories while simultaneously increasing your body's insulin response and sensitivity again. So by taking carbs out, the majority of the time when you have them, your insulin response is repaired. It's like, whoa, this is what I'm supposed to do. You generate the insulin to take the blood sugar out of your bloodstream. But if you just constantly bombarding it with sugars, you lose the sensitivity. So when you cut the carbs out, you improve that. However, if you are one of the people who either A, loves carbs, can't think to live without them, or B, gets terrible headaches and things when they're on carb because they're off carbs, because they're just a good carb energy runner, then you don't have to cut them out to have a healthy diet. You don't at all. What you need to do is address portion sizes. So this is the crux of the video, right? This is the important takeaway message. 90% of us have portion sizes which are vastly too large when it comes to carbohydrates. If you look at a box of breakfast cereal, it will say that an average portion, depending on the box, is somewhere normally between 30 and 45 grams. 45 very much on the higher end. It's normally 30 or 35 grams per serving. Have you ever weighed out breakfast cereal? Because if you haven't, you'll be exceptionally shocked the first time you go. So please go do it now. If you have some cereal in the house, weigh out 30 grams of cornflakes and you will see how small that bowl is. That is a portion size of carbohydrates. That is an appropriate level of carbohydrates that A, is not going to mess up your insulin sensitivity, B, is not going to give you a massive boost of calories that's going to make you a total fat ass overnight, and C, is going to give you the energy you need but without making you feel bloated and sluggish. Because for me, if I eat a big carbohydrate dense meal like pasta bake or something, I feel sluggish, I can't do anything. I can eat a massive paleo plate of food, steak and veggies, chicken and veggies, just meat and veg, or fish and veg, eggs and veg, whatever it is, no starchy carbs, and I will not get bloated unless I eat an insane amount of food, more than I can really stomach, so it just doesn't happen. That is carbohydrate size portion, when realistically people are pouring bowls of cereal that are more like 100 to, maybe like 80 to 120 grams per bowl, which is a huge leap up. And then if you look at the calories and go, I had roughly a 30 gram serving, no you didn't, you're eating way more than that. If it comes to bread, one slice of wholemeal bread is what would be considered a healthy carbohydrate source. So have an open face sandwich rather than a proper sandwich for lunch. Just one slice of bread, maybe toasted, put some some sardines, some tomatoes, some red onions, do something really nice, but with your veggies and your healthy proteins, healthy fats, and just a small amount of carbohydrates. And then when it comes to dinner, we should be eating, again, like when it comes to pasta or rice, normally you will see serving sizes are between 20 and 50 grams on most packets. And again, people are eating way more than that. Like, I remember from days when I've been trying to really bulk up, I can eat 500 grams of pasta in one sitting, and I'm not a big guy. A lot of guys can eat a hell of a lot more than me, but I can comfortably put away 500 grams of spaghetti in one sitting with meat, with cheese, with sauce, and that is a huge amount of calories. If you're trying to cut weight, you're trying to get healthy and lose fat, one of the best things you can do is research your portion sizes when it comes to carbohydrates, because we have been miseducated. That food pyramid shouldn't be like this, with a massive layer of carbs and a medium layer of veg and then a small layer of meat. It should be a massive layer of veg, a medium layer of meat, and a small layer of starchy carbs. That is the proper food pyramid, how it should be. Just look at it. Really take a look at your portion size of carbohydrates if you think you're carrying around too much weight. Weigh things out just for a couple of days. You don't have to calorie count all the time. Just weigh it out and see how right I am about how wrong you are going with your carbohydrate source portions. So hopefully you found the video interesting and useful, and it helps you on your weight loss and fitness journey. If you like the video, please do like the video, comment with anything you want to see, subscribe if you want to see more of these videos, and of course I will see you all in the next one.